The video version. Welcome back to another episode of the newly rebranded The iTunes Fanboy Podcast. And I am your host, The iTunes Fanboy, aka Teddy Maggart. And we also have our co-host today, Tabbypears. And starting next week, hopefully, if it'll actually work, we will be having guests on.
Who will be our first guest?
Ealis from Yaltech will be our first guest.
I know he's excited for that.
Yeah. So, yeah, and in case you're wondering why I went back, reversed my rebranding was because it had been too long since I rebranded back to the iTunes Fanboy, and it just felt strange to be called iApple Tree.
Yeah, plus you had a following using the iTunes Fanboy.
Yeah, and plus I've been mentioned in other people's videos by the iTunes Fanboy too, so I didn't want to confuse people on that.
Yeah, and then you would have to rebrand all your other channels too, like your vlog channel, your second channel, and your podcast channel.
Yeah. I did rebrand all those back to the iTunes Fanboy.
Yeah.
Even though I don't post too much to my vlog channel because I don't really like doing vlogs.
Yeah, I used to vlog on my main channel back in 2017, but I stopped doing that a while back.
Yeah, so anyhow, let's actually get back to the point of this video. Or not this video, this podcast episode. So, can you guess what the first subject will be about?
iPhone 14 rumors?
Nope. So, as we all know, the EU is now getting new guidelines going for Apple to switch to allow side loading. The U.S. government is now put a bill into effect to force Apple to allow side loading. And now protests in Japan are demanding that Apple allow third-party app stores, and they're also want Apple to not have a 30% cut and instead to have a lower cut.
I think the 30% cut is fair, but I do think that we should have the option of side loading.
Again, we've gone into this in other episodes, and I personally think that side loading isn't great because it can compromise security at first. But when the devices get to be legacy, then I do consider side loading a necessary feature.
It can also enable piracy for paid apps, which is obviously really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that the 30% cut is fair, especially because even Meta, who complained about Apple's 30% cut, in the metaverse there is now a 47.5% cut.
Yeah, and that's just too much. But
Yeah.
we've gone over Meta enough for this month, I think, already.
Yeah, and also I think most stores have like a 50% cut too.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure about the Play Store, but I'm sure that Google likes to take money from innocent people.
yeah. We've gone into this stuff in several other episodes. So now let's talk about something far more exciting. There is in the works. This will be in the distant future. At the earliest, it will be coming out next year. But there is going to be a 27-inch Imac Pro with a 120 Hertz display.
That's something I really would be excited for.
Yeah, because I always thought that was kind of a shame that Apple didn't update the iMac Pro. Because I know the Mac Pro is powerful and all that. But I think that especially for pros, especially for pros who don't know that much about technology, like high-end businesses and such, I think they'd be more comfortable with having an all-in-one desktop because my grandmother, her previous computer before her current one now was an all-in-one desktop, and she enjoyed using that one. But with her current desktop now, she has issues getting sound to work and such because she has to use external speakers, obviously. And so, yeah, I think that is a great thing, and I don't think Apple should have ever discontinued that. There were rumors for a 32-inch iMac Pro, so I was still curious to see if they'll do that or not, but 27 inches is still a nice screen size.
Yeah.
And there's also, in 2023, there will also be the next iMac, consumer level iMac will be a 24-inch iMac again with the M3 processor. So there will be no M2 iMac, which will really cause the iMac to decline in sales.
I don't think it would cause a decline because a lot of people don't look at the specs when buying computers. If you look at the average computer purchase, they look for design, display, price tag, not really specs. Of course, if they see, an older generation, they will say the new gen's better, but they also look for year released. And if we're seeing 2021 iMac against 2022 iMac, if one of them is $500 cheaper, the person would definitely go for the one that's cheaper.
And Rowdy just joined the podcast, by the way, who is one of my cats. And Beezus is now joining the podcast.
Yo, you here?
Yes, I am. Oh, I accidentally muted myself.
Alright.
It looks like your Wi-Fi name or password has changed. To update your Wi-Fi information, go to the Alexa app.
Yeah, I think your Wi-Fi is geeking out again.
Yeah, my Echo just said that, but my Echo says that frequently, but the call still seems to be going fine as I accidentally hit the mute button.
Yeah, I actually don't have any smart assistants at the moment.
Yeah. I still currently have an Echo Dot second generation, which I know is getting pretty outdated at this point, but I still like its design best.
Yeah.
Just because I think the nice little plastic design is a nice aspect.
Yeah,
And
I bought it when it was new, actually.
And besides, I like the fact that it plugs into regular USB instead of a whole two-prong outlet.
Yeah, I like the second gen Echo Dot. I do have a pretty rare piece of Amazon Echo history, which is the Amazon Echo Tap, I believe it was called.
I remember what was the Echo Tap?
It was the one that was wireless. It was like a Bluetooth speaker type of thing.
I think I remember a little bit about that.
Yeah, I actually bought one for a trip in 2016, and I still have it. It hasn't been used since 2016 though, because about 3 days after I bought it, I realized it was kind of a.
And in case you're wondering, there is somebody who's here right now. And so I'm going to go close my door. I don't think it's anybody important visiting.
Yeah.
So I'll see what happens, but yeah. Oh yeah, it is some. Never mind about that, so we'll have to see how reliable my Wi-Fi stays with my door closed.
Yeah.
Oh well, that is not important, but so remember back when we knew that the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Ultra were going to be getting the satellite connectivity?
Yeah.
Well, now it's revealed that all the iPhone 14s will be getting satellite connectivity.
Pretty cool.
And I still wonder if Apple is going to name the lower end models the 14 and the higher end models the 15s.
I think that would be pretty stupid, but it would make sense because 5, 10, 15.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I highly doubt they will do that because, as we've seen in the past with Apple, they like to stick to their names for about 5 years for a product. And it's been about 3 years since they started going back from Roman numerals to actual numbers.
I just feel, but again, at each of these 5-year marks, there's usually something very, very remarkable introduced in the iPhone. Like the iPhone,
Yeah, hopefully.
like the iPhone 5 introduced the bigger screen. The iPhone 10 introduced an all-screen design. And if the next iPhone will be introducing...
It looks like your Wi-Fi name or password has changed.
USB-C,
To update your Wi-Fi information, go to the Alexa app.
I'm just going to unplug my Echo so it doesn't say that.
Yeah.
And now there we go. Now I'm going to unplug its actual cable because it's not safe to leave cables plugged in. Like that, and yeah. So I just feel that if there's going to be something as groundbreaking as satellite connectivity on the next iPhone, then I think they would want that would change the world literally. So
yeah,
that's why I think they're going to go ahead with the 15, especially because we know of companies like Apple, they're going to stick to their consistencies.
Yeah, I don't think that Apple's gonna change up the design for a while.
Yeah. In fact, if I look, it appears that the person is gone. So I'm gonna go open my door again. Okay. There we go. Now our Wi-Fi is guaranteed not. Now my Wi-Fi is guaranteed not to geek out.
Nice.
Okay. It's doing that weird noise again. Oh well. I just opened my door, so that should be fixed, but let's stop talking about that. And so there is a photo of the real front glass panels for the iPhone 14s.
I saw that.
And the eye hole in the iPhone 14 Pro and Ultra is bigger than the notch.
Yeah.
That is kind of stupid, but again, I personally like the eye hole.
Yeah, like, I actually was talking to one of my friends about this earlier. He showed me the leaked photo, and I think that the notch has annoyed me for years, because it's just too outdated. Honestly, the, quote, eye hole looks to actually have a dual camera system. I could be wrong. There's a great chance that I'm wrong. But being completely honest here, this is pretty big because not only will we maybe finally, after years, get to see our battery percentage in the notch, which you know I hate not being able to see.
I hate that too.
Just maybe this might fix the issue of the notch protruding into content. If you look at, I don't know the exact aspect ratio, but there's one aspect ratio that the notch will come into content now that the notch is larger on the iPhone 14s or 13s.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that I'm Actually, I'll bet you there probably is going to be a dual camera system because the eye hole wouldn't be bigger than the notch if there wasn't going to be a dual camera system.
Yeah, because if you look at the photo, I'm not sure if you have it saved, but I'm looking at it right now, and it looks like there is dual cameras.
Yeah, and I know that the Face ID sensors do take up a certain amount of room.
Yeah, but they could honestly probably figure out a way to forge that down a layer and probably get most of the Face ID tech under glass, like not like Samsung does, but like how modern phones will have the infrared. No, what is it called? Light
IR.
sensors. Yeah, no, light sensors under the glass.
Yeah, and it's not. And also, they have to bake the speakers in too.
Yeah, which I think that Apple's gonna do an approach like the Xiaomi Mi Mix, I think it was, and have it in the display, like vibrating the whole thing.
Yeah, that would make some pretty good sense. Are you sure new MacBook is working okay?
I'm on my iPhone right now, actually, since I actually am updating my MacBook.
Yeah, because that's the second time it's done that. Oh well. We'll just ignore that. And so, remember a year ago when Meta was freaking out about Apple adding their transparency thing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Apple since published a report stating that transparency hasn't actually done a whole lot to benefit Apple.
Yeah, mainly because it doesn't completely stop tracking. Like, it prevents a lot of it, but tracking is always going to be an issue.
Yeah, and it's not just that either, but companies were even figuring out ways around that.
Yeah, like, there's no way. Even with an Onion browser, you can't stay anonymous on the web in 2022. Like, you can use an Onion browser with a VPN, with a private connection, all this stuff, but it's not going to stay. You're not going to be able to stay anonymous. And I've actually been reading a lot about this lately. You really, if you want to stay anonymous, what you have to do is pretty much get a new identity online. And even so, a lot of, like, Facebook has data on you even if you're not a Facebook member.
Yeah, because I don't actually have Facebook, but I do have Instagram, but...
Yeah, like, I have Facebook for family, and I just post photography to it. But, you know, at this point, I don't think it really matters if they track me, because I have had many accounts in the past when I was very little on Facebook, so they already have my info. So as long as I don't give them any new info, it should be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And now, of course, Meta obviously reported that $26 billion loss.
Yeah.
Last fall. And there was, of course, Facebook is turning more and more into a site for old people.
Yeah.
And I apologize to any old people that I may have offended, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's really offensive, because technically most of Facebook's audience is elderly people and people over the age of, like, 65.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of my mom's friends and her are obviously on Facebook. But even then, that's still but that's not exactly young people.
Yeah.
They're not senior citizens, but they're not young people. So yeah. And now, in case you're wondering why we haven't discussed this yet, Apple released their self-repair service.
Yeah, which I think is cool.
But their website, it doesn't even look like an Apple website.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So, let me actually visit it right now.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about repairing one of my iPhone 12 series devices. I have a 12 mini, but that device has a lot of underlying issues, so I'm not going to repair it.
Look, this looks like a scam website.
Yeah. Genuine Apple parts? Like, yeah, it's going to be genuine. Apple's literally putting it on their website. Why wouldn't it be genuine?
Yeah. It looks like one of those scam websites, which is sad because scammers are now going to actually find ways to replicate it far easier.
Yeah, and I am actually pretty glad that they are doing this, because this is actually going to help, because from what I can tell, it looks like the home button on the iPhone SE 3 is replaceable, which was not possible before.
Yeah, that's pretty cool to see. And
Yeah,
so
I'm not sure if you're aware, but previously you could not replace the home button.
Oh yes, I was very aware of that.
Yeah, because I've actually done a lot of repairs. I actually repair iPhones to get money. So this is pretty cool to me that I will be able to use genuine parts if I get an SE3.
Yeah.
And I'm actually thinking about buying an SE3 to repair it with Apple service, self-service.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's pretty cool. And you can actually get discounts if you trade in your old parts.
Yeah, so that makes it an even better deal.
Even though they are slightly more expensive than OEM Apple parts. My only complaint is that number one, it does offer repair, but only on iPhone 12s, 13s, and the SE3. What if you have an older iPhone that needs fixing?
10s and above, eventually, which is pretty unfortunate because
a lot of people are still using a 10 and below.
Yeah, but I guess if they do end up allowing people to replace Face ID, then my 10s and 10s Max technically have hope, and they're not going to be just completely dead from Face ID forever.
Yeah, Apple does. Oh yeah, an Apple, and because I'm still using an iPhone 11 Pro Max, and my dad's currently still using his 11 Pro Max, and my mom has a 13 Pro that she just got, and my grandma is having issues with her iPhone 10R's earpiece speaker.
Yeah.
And even though she'd get fixed by Apple, that's still kind of unfortunate how Apple won't let users help fix them. I'm not exactly experienced in tech repair anyway, so I'm probably not going to try to fix my grandmother's phone.
Yeah, I have actually a good amount of experience because I've been doing it for a few years.
Yeah.
My first repair was in 2018.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried repairing any of your devices?
Yes, I have, and the only ones I've actually succeeded in are Macs. I've never succeeded in iPhone repair before.
Yeah, I felt that way until I tried with older iPhones, like the 3GS was actually the first iPhone that I fixed. And it takes a lot of practice, but it's doable.
I've had trouble. I've actually failed repair. I've tried fixing a 2G, 3G, and 3GS, and all of which have failed.
Yeah, the 2G is probably the hardest phone to repair, honestly. It's harder than modern iPhones.
Yeah. And so Apple released a software update for their Studio display. Yes, apparently monitors have software now that is slightly improved, but still that slightly improves the webcam quality, but its webcam is still a potato. I'm sorry, I did not hear you there.
Yeah, what's going on?
I don't know. Did you hear what I said about the Apple Studio display webcam quality slightly improved with a software update, but still being pretty bad?
Yeah, it is better than some of the dedicated webcams that Dollar Tree or Five Below would sell you.
Yeah, I didn't think that they. I don't think Five Below actually has webcams.
I don't know. It sounds like something they would try to release.
I've been inside of Five Below not too long ago, and I have not seen a webcam there.
Yeah, I've been going there for a few.
I actually have to plug my MacBook in because it just gave me a red battery indicator. We are having some technical difficulties today. It did that again.
What did it do?
It did that squeaky noise. Oh well.
Yeah.
So I still personally think that the Apple Studio webcam should have seriously been better, considering that even their budget iPad and iPhone SE3 have better webcams and better front cameras, and they're far cheaper.
Mobile devices, they're not really made to be, they're made to be more for photography. Well, not photography, but but studio displays made to just sit there and be a camera that's usable.
Yeah, and yet it's such bad resolution that I don't know how many people will buy the studio display.
Yeah.
Especially considering its cable is nearly impossible to remove.
Yeah. It seems like a nice display for what it is, quality-wise, but I'll probably end up buying one.
Yeah. I obviously don't even have the money for one, so I will also not be...
If I had the money for one, after I bought a Mac Studio, I definitely would buy that display just to have a nice 5K Thunderbolt display, but it's definitely a bit overpriced for what it is.
Yeah, what do you think is a fair price point for the Apple Studio display?
$8.99.
I think it should be even cheap. $8.99.
Well, you gotta factor in the fact that most Thunderbolt displays are pretty expensive. Like, I was trying to buy one a few years ago, and back then they were about $1,300, and 5K displays are not really a thing, really. Like, Apple's one of the probably 3 manufacturers that uses 5K panels, and LG displays are pretty much just Apple displays, in my opinion, because LG partnered with Apple for the 5K ultra fine display.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think more people may buy it if it's $900, especially considering it's Apple. And it did that squeaking again. Yeah, so I think that the Apple Studio display being priced at $900 would be fair. So I think that if the Apple Studio display should probably have a far better webcam if it's $1,600.
Yeah, it does come with the A13 chip and 64 gigabytes of internal storage, which you can't use, but still cool.
Yeah, and 64 gigabytes of internal storage. What do you need that much storage for in a modder?
My theory is that, well, not mine, but a lot of people's theory is that the A13 was never designed to work with anything without anything below 64 gigabytes. So
Yeah, that is true, because otherwise Apple might have made a new iPod Touch at this point with the A13 chip.
yeah.
Speaking of, what I was going to say is, I know Apple's next plan is to deliver Mac repair parts.
Yeah, I don't know what parts they would really sell us, but
Yeah, which makes sense considering that the Mac Studio's hard SSD is not replaceable
yeah.
currently.
I don't even know why they did that, but
And they called it modular at the keynote too.
yeah.
Modularity is one of the key factors of the Modularity is one of the key factors of the Mac Studio. You can't even upgrade it. It is not modular.
Yeah, I don't know what they meant by that.
I guess maybe that you could plug in your own keyboard, mouse, and modder into that, but you can do that with literally any computer.
Oh, yeah, more modular than an iMac.
Yeah. I certainly think that my 2010 MacBook Pro is still probably the most modular computer that I have right now.
Yeah.
And is certainly more modular than the Mac Studio. Yeah. As always, I am the iTunes fanboy.
I'm Tabbypears.
And we are going to say goodbye for now, but come back next week when we start having guests.
Yep.
As always,
Goodbye.
peace out.